Welcome back to the Go to Go podcast, man. Episode 107, week 6 of the NFL season right upon us. This episode, we got a segment of love and hate. First 5 weeks through the season, we'll break down some of the things we love, some of the things we hate, and then obviously our week 6 pick'ems to go on top of that, man. So, love or hate, why don't we go one for one? You kick us off, whichever side you want.
All right, we starting positive or negative? Let's start off with things we don't like. I feel like this one's pretty universal, man. The Chiefs, bro, I'm just over them. Like they just always win, no matter what. No weapons, like horrible tackles. Doesn't matter with the refs. Mahomes can lead the league in interceptions. Their defense is just still gonna be good. Andy Reid and Mahomes are always gonna come through in the clutch. It's just like you already know what's going to happen before the game even goes on. So somehow Travis Kelce is still relevant, like slow starts of the season, but with the injuries, lose their starting running back and their backup running back, fumbles on the first drive, they take him out. They throw in Kareem Hunt, who, last year on the Browns, you were saying was well washed. Well, last night, Monday night against the Saints, goes for 100 yards. Juju reviving his career. TikTok dances are going to be coming back. Taylor Swift. Just everything about the Chiefs. I'm over it, bro. And they're going to three-peat.
Man, Corvette on the logo this time. You think he learned his lesson?
It doesn't matter. He can do whatever he wants, bro. He's playing with the Chiefs and they're going to win. Like, yeah, what do you want me to say?
Yeah, Bill Belichick. Didn't like Taylor Swift either on the Manning cast last night either, so
can't really blame him.
Not at all. Well, we're starting with hate, man, and I might as well just get it out the way. The Cleveland Browns. I'm not even gonna say too much, man. You see, rocking a little 6-man. Baker, I'm sorry, bro. We miss you in Cleveland right now. I don't even know what to say with this team. From the top down. People want to hate on Andrew Berry maybe for the Deshaun Watson trade. Saw an opportunity to get a top 5 quarterback in the league at the time. Went out and got it. Can't hate Berry for that. One of the best GMs so far in his tenure that I've seen in Cleveland in the past decade and a half. So made a lot of good decisions. That one right now not paying off. Does Deshaun Watson still have talent? Probably, but his head not in the right place whatsoever. Offensive line, bad. Kevin Stefanski, he seems to be over it. I don't even know if his head's in the right place right now. Just sit Nick Chubb. Maybe just get him some game reps at some point during the season to get him back for next year. But go ahead, chop it up. Classic Cleveland Browns style, man. Another abysmal season for a team in 2020. Beat the Steelers in a playoff game last year. Went to the playoffs with Joe Flacco. And I wish Baker never played that 2021 season or 22 season hurt 21 season because he'd still be a Cleveland Brown.
If the Browns have a top pick, do they take a quarterback?
Yeah, I was seeing what's his name. I forget who it was. Talk about it. Man, I mean, if they're gonna rock with Deshaun the rest of the season and you see this product put on the field, yeah. I mean, you're already 3 years, 4th year into this contract. That point, you just got to say you got to move on. If you see this same thing all season long, all the distractions are behind him. All his cases are closed. There's no open cases. So if he can't get it right, I mean, will he ever? So, yeah, you draft a quarterback, man, because guys like Myles Garrett are in their prime and they're not getting any younger. And Nick Chubb's a running back. If he comes back healthy, he's still in his prime. They're the oldest team in the league, so it's win now, and they need a quarterback and a healthy offensive line, which they have neither of right now. So, hate the Cleveland Browns. I'd rather go back to watching, I don't even know. Just give me Josh Gordon. At least it was electric football.
Deshaun
Kaiser, yeah. They're comparing it to the 0-16 season. I probably had more heart watching Corey Coleman drop that pass on 4th down than I watched that game against the Commanders last week. So, yeah, hate him, man. Baker.
All right. Let's keep it with our favorite teams. Things I've hate so far.
I know.
Eagles coaching, Nick Sirianni. Everything to do with the coaching staff for the Eagles. And you throw Vic Fangio in there. The only one I'm not gonna put too much heat on is Kellen Moore, just because the thing I hate the most, Nick Sirianni came out that he might have a little more to do with the play calling than thought before. So can't really put it all on Kellen Moore. It's more on Nick Sirianni. Just this Eagles team has so much potential. Like, if you just look at the roster from top to bottom, like I said this coming into the beginning of this year, like you can argue it's the most talented roster in the NFL. But I mean, these players just aren't being put into position. Against the Bucks, DBs, defensive backs are playing 8 yards off, hella cushion, and the short screens, short passes ended up killing them. After the game, Vic Fangio comes out, says, like, we just didn't expect that to be the game plan. What are you doing? Like, you're literally the coach. Like, make adjustments in game after the second drive, and you see that stuff happening. Adjust, press up. Against the Falcons, said Zach Bond wasn't really prepared for cut blocks, saying that's just something they haven't really coached. Like, it's a part of football. Why aren't you coaching it? Nick Sirianni's game management, we came on here, talked about all the field goal decisions going for it. The weird play calls off of the tush push, going with the outside handoff instead of just going up the middle, to where you've had, so much success with Jalen Hurts throughout his career. Taking points, not taking points, players not being in the right position after games. You got, supposed leaders of the team going on Twitter talking about their career stats and not what happened to them during the game. All of that comes from coaching, the locker room, players coming out saying it's a player-led locker room, Nick Sirianni not speaking to the team after a loss, letting Jalen Hurts handle it. I just think everything with that coaching staff right now is just not in a very good place. Special teams hasn't been good either. You can put stuff on the special teams coach running into players saying, I thought that was the right thing to do. Isaiah Rodgers pushing him into the Cooper DeJean on the punt return. So, yeah, penalties, everything that goes into coaching has just been horrific so far this season for the Eagles. And, we'll talk about our picks and stuff or whatever. But, Robert Sala's out. If the Eagles lose to the Browns, Nick Sirianni is going to be right behind them. I hate the Eagles coaching in the 2024 season.
Who's on the post game talking about their stats? Who was that?
Big Play Slay.
That was kind of my guess, but
and then also he was laughing with Micah Parsons on a podcast about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's play against the Tampa Bay Bucks. So are the leaders really leading? Like, what's going on in that locker room, man?
That's typical DB behavior, in my opinion. Yeah, well, originally I had the Jets on there, and Saleh got fired this morning, so I took them off because the Jets made a change, and maybe they turned their season around. I'm going to go with another team in the same division, the Buffalo Bills. Something I hate, Josh Allen, 9 completions last week, and Sean McDermott, another head-scratcher of a game managed down at your own 2-yard line. They go 3 straight passes, 3 straight deep shots, misconnect, almost turned the ball over on one of them. I mean, if you're the Bills, you got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Josh Allen, and it seems like every year they just can't get it right. And I think it's going to be another one of those years with the Sean McDermott-led team. I don't think he's the answer in Buffalo. He's had his time. Will it be a midseason firing? No, I don't think so. But if the Bills end up in the same spot they've been the past few years, losing either in the playoffs, falling short first, second round, doesn't matter. I would expect to see a coaching change out there in Buffalo. So,
all right. Another thing that I've hate so far, just questioning is, and if you played fantasy, this has definitely been something you've noticed, man. What happened to the tight end position? Like, just tight ends aren't being utilized, bro. Let's get the tight ends the ball, man. What happened to the days of? I know you remember Gronk, Greg Olsen,
Aaron
all
Hernandez
of those guys.
had his little run.
Prime Kelsey, prime Zach Ertz, like all these guys were so good. Now it's like, if you get a tight end that has like 4 catches and 7 yards, or 4 catches and like 40 or 50 yards, you win your tight end matchup in fantasy. Like if you get a touchdown,
that's a high scoring.
Yeah, that's high scoring. Yeah, if you get a touchdown, like whoa,
those are likely. Well, he had
those
2
are rare to
catches
come
and
by.
a touchdown.
Yeah, and then what do you have the week before that? Like 0. Mark Andrews just absolutely disappearing. Dalton Kincaid coming in. He was supposed to have a really big season. He's been disappointing. Travis Kelce, if it wasn't for the 3 injuries on the Chiefs' offensive weapons, he was super disappointing early on. You know, maybe as the season goes on, teams get more comfortable. They figure out ways to get these guys involved. It'll be a little bit better, but yeah, man, it's starting to seem like the tight ends are being phased out, man. Bring back the tight end.
I was thinking about putting that on my list, but I didn't want to get too in-depth to fantasy because I got another one on the love side right now, but the tight ends seem to be Kyle Pitts' breakout week last week, but that's about it.
That's another one. Yeah, before that game, he was doing absolutely nothing. And Kirk Cousins had to throw for 500 yards for him to finally get involved. Like, let me know the next time that happens.
Sam Laporta saved me.
He had a slow start too.
Yeah, he had a bye last week. Seemed to have a decent game, but then also Jared Goff was torching the Seahawks defense, kind of like Kirk Cousins was Thursday night. But, I mean, I guess I'll move it on to love.
Oh, I have one more hate.
One more hate? You want to go ahead?
Yeah. And this one isn't really like anything, but it's the new kickoff rule. Like, I just feel like it's not really making that big of a difference. Like, you know, coming into the season, we were sold this dynamic kickoff is going to be hella kick returns, better field position, a lot more things. It's going to be exciting. I just feel like every team just kicks it out to the end zone, and the team started at the 30 now. Like, I feel like they could have just kept the same kickoff rules, and we'd just be exactly where we are now. I don't understand the dynamic aspect of the new kickoff rule. There's been only 1 kickoff return so far this season.
Week 1.
Yeah, I feel like they just changed it just to change it. I don't really see the benefit or the excitement that we were being sold.
Yeah, I think it's just to protect the players, I guess, versus.
Well, how are you protecting the players when, you know, we were being sold like, yeah, you're going to get more returns, like bigger plays. Like, if you want to protect the players, just give the team the ball at the 30-yard line and take away special teams. Like, you're not protecting nobody if you want more returns and, you know, add more chances of players getting hit. So I just don't get it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Teams kick it to the Browns because they have Deontay Foreman taking back kicks. So, yeah, they kick it to us every time.
Yeah, that's also another thing, bro. Like, Chiefs were going to have, like, Justin Reed kicking the ball. There was going to be, like, linebackers back there. Like, it was going to be all this, like, really cool stuff, like, different players out of position. But, yeah, it seems to be an afterthought so far.
Moving on to the things so far I love. I'm going to go ahead and say the Minnesota Vikings. Not only Sam Darnold has been balling out this year, that Vikings defense has stepped up and players around Sam Darnold have played to their level or excelled. And it helps when you have Justin Jefferson on the outside. Sam Darnold was counted out. Look at him now. The Vikings, they're on a roll, man. You can't deny them. J.J. McCarthy went down. I'm not sure where we had him. I'll go back and look real quick. But I had him getting 5 wins, so what a cold take that is. 5-12 on the year. About to surpass that, so you got to give credit to the Vikings, man. I had them at the bottom of the division. Here they are, one of the best teams in football, if not, you know, arguably the best team in the NFC currently. You got to tip your cap to the Vikings.
All right. The thing I've enjoyed the most so far this NFL season, it's got to be rookie receivers, man. Those guys are electric. The way they're coming in, pretty much taking over the league. You look at Malik Neighbors, you know, putting up better than rookie OBJ numbers. Daniel Jones feeding him the ball. I think he led the league in targets before he went down with that injury and before, you know, he missed this last week with the concussion. But when he was playing, he was just cooking everybody. Didn't matter what defender was on him. If they were double teaming him, he was getting open. Brian Thomas Jr., sneakily one of the best receivers in the league. He's a rookie down there. Trevor Lawrence, he's pretty much, you know, the reason they won the game last week, that big connection. Whenever you look at that Jags offense, in terms of passing, he definitely looks like the most explosive receiver out there. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's had that, you know, that one big game early on, a couple nice catches. Whittington, the rookie receiver over there with the Rams, he's made a couple nice catches with some injuries. A lot of guys are stepping up. Lat McConkey, he's found the end zone a couple times. Roma Dunze, he's had a slow start, but as he goes along with Caleb Williams, that connection seems to be good. He had one solid game. It's looking like this draft class so far, all the top picks have definitely been hits at the receiver position, adding a lot more versatility, a lot more variety to the position, and it looks like this position is going to be in good hands for years to come. A lot of stud rookie receivers this season.
Well, you took one of the things I love. Not only was it breakout receivers, but breakout rookies in general, man, this season. Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, you mentioned. Marv's got it going, a little up and down so far, but still a young receiver in the league. Jaden Daniels, obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Caleb Williams, the past 2 weeks, has looked like the number one overall pick in the draft as well. He seemed to get some things going over there in Chicago. So I'm right there with you on the things I love so far this season.
All right, second thing I love and enjoyed so far this season was this past Sunday, 15 hours of football. Like, from when you wake up till you go to sleep, every time you check your phone, there's some news. You check scores, whether it's fantasy, whether you're betting. There was games on literally from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. the next day. You can't have enough football. So that was one of the best things. Just an entire day, full packed action football, a lot of great games, a lot of football content. I love it.
You like the Dak Prescott making history stat, picking the same game in 2 different days?
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, sure, I'm always going to be happy for the Cowboys doing bad things.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Things I love so far this season. Gotta shout out my boy that I so highly touted late in the fantasy drafts. Chuba Hubbard, man, from the Panthers. Andy Dalton came onto the scene. He's looked like a top 10 back in the league. When he gets his touches, Andy Dalton at the helm, he seems to have a day. So I don't know what it is with Andy Dalton. Maybe better chance to pass, less pressure on the run. He's looked good so far. And, I mean, they got Brooks coming back as well. It's going to be a battle. At first, they thought it was going to be Brooks just taking the job right from Chuba once he got his workload back and his feet set back. But Chuba Hubbard, past few weeks, looked really good. I personally loved it. Post Bryce Young has looked really good. So,
well, I'm gonna just say this: a Panthers player shout out on things I love was not something I expected coming into this. But
I'm still losing in fantasy. It doesn't matter.
Listen, Chuba Hubbard, that's your guy. Things I've loved so far, the memes, bro. Like, the social media content has been like top tier so far this season. Whether it's, Will Levis every week turning the ball over or just diving in some outlandish way. Aaron Rodgers the other day crawling on the ground like he needs to be revived. You got the Colts player trying to tackle Brian Thomas just full out laying down the Young Hoku memes after he kicks the game winners. Just a lot of top tier comedy, a lot of memes so far. This might be the year of the NFL memes so far.
Yeah, they've loved those Young Wei-Ku, but they've loved him the past few years. He's been getting all the memes. Can't knock it, man. I'm right there with you. Will Levis has been probably the focal point, at least first 3 weeks so far. Since you took one of the things that I loved this year, how about something that news just broke, things I love? This is Drake May starting in New England, man. You saw their start to the season with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, not much life. We both picked the Patriots to win last week against that Dolphins team who looked very bad since Tua went down, even bad when Tua was in against the Buffalo Bills. Drake May finally gets a start. You put your franchise guy, the guy you drafted in the first round, at the helm. I love to see what he has. I mean, this Patriots team, they don't have much. But in terms of getting your quarterback out there, getting him some game reps, getting him that flow, see what he has and why you drafted him so high, I think why not just pull the trigger?
And the last thing I've loved or enjoyed this season, maybe not if you're doing the picks like us, or if you're a betting person, a gambling person, but the parity in the NFL has been really, really fun to see so far. Outside of the Chiefs, I feel like any team can beat any team. And you look at some of the games where you got the Patriots beating the Bengals week 1. You got the Giants beating the Seahawks in Seattle last week. A bunch of these games I feel like could go either way. And it's just been fun. Now, like I said, if you betting, maybe not able to kind of put your finger on who's going to win the game or cover the spread. But regardless, I feel like so far throughout the season, it kind of seems like an even playing field. You know, the Niners lost a couple of games. Ravens started off slow. Bills, we thought they looked good early on. Now, after a couple losses, what's their season going to look like? So I think the parity in the NFL, like I mentioned, outside of the Chiefs, I feel like anybody can pretty much beat anybody at this point.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You said anybody could beat anybody. I'm not going to agree with that because I think everyone could beat the Browns, but it's going to move us.
We'll see.
To our Week 6 pick'ems. Oh, we'll see. And you might think that Eagles team is a new team. Last week we both went 7-7. I'm staying even at 500, 39-39. You're sitting 12 games below, 33-45 on the year, man. Thursday night football kickoff. Got the Niners, Seahawks in Seattle. You mentioned the Seahawks losing at home. Don't know which version you're going to get of them. That second half team that played the Lions, totally different than that first half team they played. They go out and they drop last week to the Giants at home. This Niners team shaky. Ayuk got it going last week, something you really like to see if you're a Niners fan. Give me the Niners on the road against the Seahawks Thursday night prime time. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think the Niners get it on the road.
Yeah, I like the Niners here as well. And like you said, if it's a close one, I think it's good. Don't let Shanahan get a 10-point lead. Then, the Seahawks might come back and win the game. But I think if it's a relatively competitive, NFC West matchup like we're expecting, especially on a short week, I think the better team will win. I think the 49ers are the better team here.
Next game up, man, Jags, Bears in Chicago. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Jags. Really don't have a reasoning why, because somehow last week, once again, Dougie P and the Jags almost blew it after Trevor Lawrence's terrific performance and Brian Thomas breaking out. Tank Bigsby, huge game out of him as well. Bad stock for me and Travis Etienne fantasy ownership, but Bigsby looked really good, man. And they look like a great team up until that fourth quarter. Crunch time, if they need a stop, they really can't get one. They let teams right back into the game, let them get right back in the thick of things with a chance to win it. They were able to close the game out last week, but this Bears team's also looked good. Past few weeks, we mentioned that defense week in and week out. That offense seemed to get things going. I mean, DeAndre Swift looks like a different running back the past 2 weeks. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Jags. I love the way that offense looked. If they could keep it going and T-Law keeps it up. Brian Thomas, I don't care who's on him or that Bears defense. I think he's a little bit unstoppable.
Yeah, the main reason I was just not picking the Jags is, like you mentioned, even when they win, it just doesn't look good. You mentioned the fourth quarter collapse. Whereas the Bears, I think, are trending in the right direction. They got a couple nice wins. Now, granted, it was against the banged-up Rams and the Panthers, so you got to take that into consideration. But I think that's big for the confidence for Caleb Williams. He seems to be playing a lot better. Those receivers, those guys on the perimeter are starting to get a lot, getting things going. And then I definitely think the running game has also been huge. You mentioned Swift, Roschon Johnson getting into the end zone a couple times. So I think that'll be big for this Bears team, although, this is a London game, and the Jags in London is basically a home game, so they definitely got that going for them. But I think right now the Bears they're playing a little bit cleaner football, so I'm going to take the Bears in Chicago, basically, in the away game against the Jags.
Nah, that's definitely a Jags home game. They love playing over there, man. The fans love them for some reason. Give them a true fan base, maybe. Bucks Saints, man, in New Orleans, NFC South matchup. Derek Carr, we're sitting here pre-podcast. Spencer Rattler could be the Saints starting quarterback on Sunday. Well, I'm rocking a Baker jersey, man. Once again, still miss you. Give me the Bucks, man. He looked good on Thursday Night Football. They couldn't get it done against the Falcons, but it was a tough NFC matchup game, back-to-back weeks. Can't afford to drop 2 divisional games in back-to-back weeks. So give me the Bucks on the road.
Yeah, I initially picked the Saints, but that was before the Derek Carr injury news, so I'm definitely changing it now. So yeah, give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The offense looks good. They got 2 running backs that can run the ball. Outside weapons, we know what Chris Godwin and Mike Evans have been able to do throughout their entire careers. And Baker's dealing, your boy, footwork looking good.
Listen, I'll take his footwork, man, because he could actually read a defense and throw the football. So it didn't translate in the pocket sometimes, but no one embraced Cleveland like Baker, man. Commanders, Ravens at M&T Bank in Baltimore, man. I think it's going to be a good one. I think the Ravens do pull through. That Ravens team has been able to get it done now in multiple ways, whether Derrick Henry on the ground. You saw the air raid last week from the Ravens. High-scoring game. LJ looked like MVP form, LJ. So give me the Ravens. That Commanders team, they looked, first half against the Browns defense was getting some stops. Looked like the Browns defense of old, but when you're on the field all game, just makes it easy, and the Commanders were able to do that. So give me the Ravens against the Commanders.
I think this will actually end up being a pretty close game, and if you watch throughout the season, and especially against that Ravens-Bengals game last week, you can definitely throw on this Ravens team. Just ask Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and those guys. They found some success. So I definitely think Jaden Daniels will be able to find some success through the air. I think they'll put up some points, but for me, the biggest thing here is the Ravens just running the ball, and the Commanders have been one of the worst teams this year against the run. The Ravens, I believe, have already over 1,000 total team rushing yards. And I just think they play, the time of possession game, keep Jaden Daniels and that explosive Commanders offense off the field. You get a lot of Derrick Henry, some Justice Hill, Lamar, he's going to run. He's going to do his thing. So I think the Ravens will just end up wearing down this Commanders defense, and the Commanders will end up playing from behind a lot, and they'll score some points. But ultimately, I trust the Ravens defense just a little bit more than the Commanders right now. So I think the Ravens win in the close one.
Next game up, Cardinals go to Lambeau to play the Pack. I think this could be a sneaky NFC playoff matchup somewhere down the road. The Cardinals, they've looked up and down so far this season. Kyler Murray's looked good. The Packers, had Malik Willis in there for a few games. Jordan Love, outside of that Will Levis-esque play he had in the end zone with that pick six, he's looked good since his return as well. But that being said, give me the Pack. The Cardinals defense at times shaky. That offense as well. Expect the Pack to send some pressure, cause Kyler Murray to throw on the run, which he's very good at. But I don't think this Cardinals team, talent-wise, can hold up with the Pack. Plus, Romeo Doubs probably showing up to practice this week after being suspended last week. So they get another good weapon back in the lineup for Green Bay. So give me the Pack.
Yeah, I like the Packers here at home. You mentioned Jordan Love, another week removed from that injury he had early on in the season, getting his feet back under him. And then Romeo Doubs will probably be getting the ball just because Wicks can't catch. Dropped a couple passes, and Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft seems to be the only ones out there that can catch a pass. So I think they definitely get Doubs involved. Josh Jacobs in that run game, I think he also looked to get them going as well against this Cardinals defense, who hasn't been the best on the ground stopping the run. So I think the Packers here at home, and, sneakily one of the most interesting storylines. We'll see if Xavier McKinney can continue his one pick a game streak. So far, he's had an interception in every single game so far this year. So let's see if he can continue it.
Did not know that stat. Thank you. Something to look out for on Sunday. Better I take him in a bet for over half a pick. Streak ends. Colts Titans, AFC South matchup. And Will Levis apparently still the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans after Mason Rudolph beat the Dolphins on prime time. Maybe it's just a Titans thing, quarterback being the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. But go ahead and give me the Colts, man. Joe Flacco last week, really good game, almost came back as we mentioned. Even if Anthony Richardson's out there, I think, bounce back against the Titans, kind of the game you want to get him out there if he's healthy. Maybe one of those get-right games, as you would like to say. Get him on track. I really don't think it matters which quarterback they run out there at this point. Give me the Colts.
Yeah, I don't think this will be a barn burner or a fun game to watch. If I'm the Colts, I would honestly want to keep Flacco out there. But they said if AR's healthy, he's going to be their starting quarterback. So we'll see with him. Hasn't been, it's been rocky for him to start the season. And then you mentioned Will Levis. I just said the memes have been my favorite part of this season, and he's the reason why. So we'll probably get another funny meme to laugh at and post all over social media. Give me the Colts in this one.
Yeah, I think he's probably had more Mayo commercials pop up than touchdowns this year. Houston Texans.
Throw the ball to Kevin Ridley.
Yeah, trust me. I know. I got a lot of Calvin stock and a lot of Josh Downs stock as well. With the Colts, he's been looking good with Flacco out there.
Hope they keep Flacco because that's not happening with AR, bro.
Also an AR stakeholder. So, Texans, Pats, man. Mentioned Drake May getting his first start. Probably the most exciting thing you'll see this season, but comes against a defensive-minded head coach in DeMeco Ryans. Maybe because May doesn't have any NFL film on him, might catch him by surprise, but that's the hopeful of the New England faithful, maybe. I mean, give me the Texans. I think DeMeco's going to pick on him. Ramondre Stevenson, fumbling machine in the backfield. Texans, Nico Collins, Christian Gonzalez. That might be a fun matchup on the outside.
Nico's not playing.
Oh, Nico's not playing. Well,
nope.
Tank Dell stock maybe going up. Maybe Diva Stephon Diggs, who also gave us a meme last week with the little side eye to Josh Allen. But regardless, I think the Patriots team is outmatched. But once again, any given Sunday, anything can happen on that football field. But I'm rocking with the Texans.
Yeah, Nico Collins went out after he caught like a 65-yard bomb from C.J. Stroud, pulled his hammy on that play, and then just pretty much never came back for the rest of the game. So, I mean, it was nice. He gave me like 15 fantasy points in 2 plays, but unfortunate because he was, has been arguably the best receiver so far to start the league. I think, up there between him and Neighbors. So they said he'll be week to week. Typically, hamstring injuries are about 3-4 weeks if it's more on the extreme side. So, but I think the way C.J. Stroud is playing, they got some weapons. Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, those are guys who've proven they can get it done so far in the NFL. And then another week, maybe Joe Mixon comes back. He's been dealing with that high ankle. So Texans not at 100%, and I don't think it really matters. He pretty much covered everything. Against the Patriots at this point, give me the Houston Texans.
Yeah, next one up, man. Browns traveled to the Link, and if by some miracle the Brown season starts a turnaround this...
Yo, we doing a little wager on this game or what?
Wager. I'm not getting 8.5. I need more than 8.5 points, so I'm not going to... That's what Hard Rock has it at,
bro,
8.5.
The surprising thing is, bro, I'm not confident in the Eagles either, bro. So, I'm not giving you 8.5 points, bro.
Well... Yeah, that's what the book's giving me, so if you're not beating it, I'll just throw my money to...
I bet you this game is closer than 8.5.
I honestly don't think so, bro. This Browns game last week was the first one I've turned off in the first half probably in the last 6 years, so hard to watch, man. Hard to watch football. Top down, like I said, I can't put all the blame on Stefanski at this point. Can't put the blame solely on one person. Watson has been extremely horrible. Watched film this week, and I watched him miss a lot of open receivers, like wide open receivers where he just did not look to that side of the field, and he ends up scrambling or getting sacked. So pressures he's creating on himself. O-line hasn't been the best, but you got to stand in the pocket, find your receiver, keep your eyes downfield. That's what he did in Houston. It's not what he's doing right now in Cleveland. Jerome Ford's looked like a great running back, one given the rock, but he has like 8 carries a game. They shy away from the Ford run game a lot. I mean, I don't even need to say anything about the Eagles. They're playing the Browns. I think you could throw out. Give me Texas, man. I'll take Texas over Cleveland right now. Longhorns.
Well, to make you feel a little bit better. On the Eagles side, the only good thing coming out of this bye week is we're getting healthy.
Smitty.
AJ Brown and Smitty both expect to play. Lane Johnson said he's ready to go. So the offense will be at full strength. Defense should be good to go. Sidney Brown, they just opened up his window to return from the PUP off that ACL last year. Hopefully he gets involved. So, I mean, that is the one bad thing. The Eagles will be at full strength. But the good thing for you is coming out of the bye week, I guarantee you there has been zero game plan, zero coaching. The Eagles won't be prepared coming out of this bye week. Like, at this point, we've just seen enough from Nick Sirianni. We know what it is. Every single time the Eagles have won since the 2022 season, it has been the players and talent on this roster overcoming the coaching. And listen, man, if Stefanski can outcoach Nick Sirianni, which isn't hard to do, I think the Browns have a chance. Defensive line has done absolutely nothing this year outside of that one Saints game. Hopefully, Deshaun Watson can just hold on to the ball and run into a couple of sacks like he does every week to give these guys some confidence, because they're not going to get schemed up and get a sack. They're not beating blocks. I don't care who is there.
I think they'll beat some this week, man.
Like I said, it won't be too many earned sacks. It'll be a lot of Deshaun Watson running into people. Outside of Jalen Carter, I mean, Bryce Huff, he wears 0 for a reason. Agent Zero, that's his nickname. I think he has one assisted tackle, maybe one pressure in the Tampa game. Outside of that, he's done nothing. Sweat's been okay. Brandon Graham, in year 13, just said this past week he might not retire because he's quite frankly the best edge rusher we have on the team. And, before the season, he was saying this is his farewell tour. Well, now he's going to have to stick around maybe 1, hopefully 2 more years, because the way it's looking, he's far and beyond the best defensive line we have against the run in the past. Secondary, outside of Quinion Mitchell, man, I think, he'll be able to match up against Amari Cooper, but Jerry Jeudy against Slay, you want to throw Maddox out there, Moore will kill him in the slot. I know he's dropped some passes, but if he's open, he has a chance if Watson can find him. I don't know if Njoku's playing, but none of our linebackers can cover, so maybe if they try to, I don't know, who's your backup tight end? He'll get some catches.
Jordan Akins.
Yeah, Jordan Akins. I'm sure he'll have some success. And, the safeties have been the one okay part outside of bringing Chauncey down in coverage. Then whoever he's guarding is going to have a big play. So maybe we see Sidney Brown get out there and a little less of Chauncey in passing situations. We'll see. They're saying DeJean might be coming into the slot sooner rather than later. Please get Avonte Maddox off the field. So not a lot of things looking good for the Eagles. With that being said, they got to beat this Browns team. Like, if you don't beat this Browns team, like I mentioned, Nick Sirianni is gone before the game even ends. It's going to be very, very grim in Philly, and I think it is. And, the Eagles have the easiest remaining schedule, but I don't think the Eagles are that good of a team. So I don't know how much do you put that into consideration. So I think they should be good enough to beat the Browns just from, talent on its own. Jalen Hurts will have 2 turnovers, especially against this Browns defense. Like I mentioned, he's due for 2 dumbass plays a game. So whenever he holds onto the ball, kind of know you're familiar with Deshaun Watson. You just know nothing good is going to happen. He'll probably fumble it too. You just can't hold on to the football in the pocket. So we'll see. We'll see. I think it'll be a close game, but Eagles should win at home.
Yeah, just when Watson rolls out right and he's not getting sacked and he gets out, that's the only time I've seen him make a play outside the pocket. But
yeah, same with Hurts. He can only roll right. And that's if he gets out of the pocket holding onto the ball, because 9 times out of 10, he just has no pocket awareness, doesn't know the defender's behind him, and he just drops the football.
Yeah, if I'm Vic Fangio, just dial up a blitz and you win the game. But we'll see, man. I told you about him. He's no good. Chargers, Broncos, AFC West. Chargers coming off the bye week, and the Broncos defense, Pat Surtain, little 100-yard pick 6 last week. Bo Nix, on the other hand, Max Crosby was playing games with him, and Sean Payton also being Sean Payton on the sideline to Bo Nix. Give me the Chargers. Up and down start so far with the season. Early bye. Herbert, who was dealing with some injuries, he could come back healthy. You get those running backs some rest that they've, just ground and pound. They've given the rock to JK and Gus, the bus. They get a week healthy. It's literally just don't turn the ball over and let this defense create points. And you have a good chance to win against the Broncos with Bo Nix at the helm. So give me the Chargers.
I think this will be another really good game. You know, Chargers have been super banged up. Herbert, both of their tackles have been banged up. Bosa's missed a game here or there. Derwin James suspended. So that's something. But I do like this Chargers team, but I think this Broncos defense has just been playing really, really good. You know, shout out Riley Moss, first white corner interception in a very long time. So he's putting on for them. Hopefully Cooper DeJean is next, but
well,
yeah,
I don't think there's another white corner for him
well, for interception, hopefully he catches a pick, but that means good news for the Eagles. But regardless, you mentioned Bo Nix. I think he's been playing a lot better these past couple games. I think that defense really helps. A positive game script. He doesn't have to do too much, not playing from behind. And this Broncos defense is flying around, creating turnovers, getting to the quarterback. So, you know, the Chargers, if they get put in obvious passing downs, it's not where they want to live. You mentioned that Greg Roman offense and Harbaugh. They want to run the ball. If they can have an entire drive without passing, I think they would. So, a couple early stops force Justin Herbert and that offense to beat you from the pocket. I think the Broncos defense can create some turnovers, get some stops, and just let Bo Nix play from ahead, play with the lead. I think they can control this game and get an ugly victory here because, like I mentioned, you know, the Chargers, they're not going to run too many plays. You're not going to have to score that many points to beat the Chargers team. So, I think the Broncos can do just enough to get a win here at home.
Yeah, next game up, man. Pittsburgh Steelers go to Vegas and play the Raiders. Really, Gardner Minshew last week, I got no words for what he did. Although it was that Broncos defense that was terrorizing him. They did get that one play from Brock Bowers that was just all Brock Bowers on that big catch from him. Mm-hmm. Outside of that Raiders team looked abysmal offensively. Give me the Steelers solely off their defense. Justin Fields back to being Justin Fields, and the mediocrity of the Pittsburgh Steelers since the departure of Big Ben or the end of his career, whichever one you want to go with. They're right back to it, to being a very elite top-tier defense, but can't get things going. And you start to question George Pickens once again as being a true wide receiver one in this league.
Yeah, a lot of storylines circling around, you know, this game, especially at the quarterback position. Apparently, Antonio Pierce came out and said, you know, it's going to be a true quarterback position battle this week during practice. I feel like both of these quarterbacks need an entire week to practice, so I'm not sure why you'd be splitting reps for either one of them in terms of Gardner Minshew and AOC or O'Connell. But yeah, and then for the Steelers, they just, you know, I saw a report saying that Russell Wilson will be a full participant this week in practice. So will we see Russell Wilson? Will he come in, maybe give some life to the Steelers offense? Because like you mentioned, with Justin Fields and their, you know, run, pass, third and medium, Justin Fields can't get you 5 yards. It's not cutting it. And that defense had multiple stops, created multiple turnovers, gave this team multiple opportunities to win the ball, and they just couldn't get it done on offense. And you mentioned for the Raiders offensively, Devontae Adams, when are they going to ship him out? A lot of news lingering around there. Reports are saying it was supposed to be like today. I haven't saw any information, so it definitely should be before they play another game, because if not, a lot of stuff just hanging around. But yeah, like you mentioned, I think this Steelers defense is one of the better units in the league, and they'll do just enough to get this one, I believe, whether it's Fields or Russell Wilson back there.
Falcons, Panthers, NFC South matchup once again. I mean, here it's like you get that week one Andy Dalton where he terrorizes defense. Could be very well against the Falcons because they gave up a lot of yards to the Bucs last week. And it took Kirk Cousins all, as you mentioned, 500 yards through the air to win last week. Just give me the Falcons just based off the fact that I guess I trust Kirk a little bit more than the Panthers and Andy Dalton. But as I mentioned, Chuba Hubbard, loved him so far. Deontay Johnson was having a solid, you know, Andy Dalton run up until last week where offense just got shut down after the Chuba Hubbard touchdown. Give me the Falcons on the road. Kirk Cousins, another game removed from that injury, being back under center. He's starting to look good and look like Kirk Cousins of old. So mobility back and his drive on the football when he drops back to pass looks a lot better than it did week 1 and week 2. So give me the Falcons.
Yeah, there's not much to say here. Kirk Cousins just threw for 500 yards last week, and he's playing against the Panthers, who pretty much give every single team their best season performance. So Kirk is going for 600 this game. Give me the Falcons.
6 is crazy. Lions, Cowboys. Probably someone's preseason NFC championship matchup right here.
Cowboys fans preseason championship.
Yeah,
NFC championship matchup. I don't know anyone else who had the Cowboys in the NFC championship.
Okay, maybe NFC playoff game. Who knows, bro? But yeah, you're right because I certainly didn't, but someone definitely did in sports media covering the NFL. I know someone did, but give me the Lions, man. I think they had a bye last week. I believe so. Yeah, they had a bye. I mean, last game they played, they looked good. That offense looked unstoppable in that second half against the Seahawks. They literally couldn't force an incompletion on Jared Goff. Amon-Ra, once again, one of the best receivers in the league. Sam Laporta, safety blanket. J-Mo over the top, just taking the top off defenses. And that 1-2 punch between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best in the league, if not the best. So give me the Lions against this Cowboys team who took every single play to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in prime time.
Yeah, I just think this Lions team is a better team overall. You mentioned offensively. This offense is starting to, shape up to be one of the better offensive, not the best offense in the league. I mean, they can run the ball through the air. You mentioned Jared Goff, 18 for 18. They got a bunch of weapons on the outside. A really good offensive line. So I'd expect to see a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs, a lot of Montgomery. Even though this Cowboys defense, I got to give them credit. They've held up pretty good against the run in Pittsburgh with missing Micah Parsons and Lawrence, D-Law there on the edge, two of their better run defenders, or the best run defenders they have. On the defensive side of the ball, they were able to get some stops. But I think it's going to be a really different story going against this Lions team where, against the Steelers, you can pretty much just throw 8 guys in the box and say, if Justin Fields beats us with those weapons on the outside, and then, you tip your cap to him. You can't do that against this Lions team because if you stack the box, like you mentioned, I mean, you can just run Jameson Williams by anybody in that secondary and boom, 70 yards, one play later, you're down. So you definitely got to respect this passing game a lot more in Detroit. Defensively, Hutchinson's had a really good year. Kirby Joseph back there in the secondary. He's made a couple big plays. They got some guys flying around there on the defense for the Lions. You can't run the ball on the Lions either, and Dallas has been horrible running the ball this season. So Rico Dowdle had a pretty good game last week, but it's going to be different. I doubt they'll be in a close game here. I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot of passing, and it's just not where you want to be against this Lions team. So give me the Lions on the road.
Bengals Giants Sunday Night Football at MetLife in Jersey, and give me the Bengals. Don't know why I'm picking them, because no matter how good of a week Joe Burrow has, that defense finds a way to blow the game. The Giants, on the other hand, very up and down season. Never know which version you're going to get. Malik Neighbors, obviously one of the best receivers in the league. I think he's going to be out, or is he questionable this week?
I think he should be back this week. He
should be back.
He's probably going to play. Trending towards playing.
Wan'Dale Robinson, sneakily, one of, not a bad number 2 receiver over there in New York. Just can Daniel Jones put it together? And if there's one team you could put it together against, it's probably the Bengals. My bet is, after last week and what the Bengals did, that this offense, they really just don't miss a step. I think they could outscore the Giants, and the Giants maybe not get enough stops, even though the Bengals O-line isn't good. And the Giants' D-line should match up well against them. Things could be 1 or 2 many plays for the Bengals, and I think they beat the Giants on the road in primetime.
Yeah, that's funny. We're both picking our division rivals, but I think the Giants can win this game. Danny Dimes sneakily has not had the worst season ever. He's been under the radar. He's done enough, and you give him back Malik Neighbors if he's fully healthy. This is just me just believing in Malik Neighbors. I think the Bengals lost Dax Hill to a torn ACL.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably their best outside boundary corner. That's a huge loss. They already had nobody to stick Malik Neighbors before this. Now you got another backup in there. It's gonna be a long day for that Bengals secondary. Daniel Jones getting it done on the ground as well. He's athletic. He can run, get out and scramble. And, that Giants O-line has really improved from last season. And sneakily, they have a pretty decent run game. 5.61 motor. He was injured last week. I think it was Tyrone Tracy, I think his name is. The rookie, he came in and had a solid week against the Falcons or against the Seahawks. He had found some success on the ground. So I think if the Giants can kind of do what they did last week against the Seahawks, where they just had the ball the entire game, found success on early downs, were able to run the ball, and then you throw Malik Neighbors back into that mix to where you just keep Joe Burrow off the field, and then at anytime you want, any given play, you have the explosive big play opportunity there with Malik Neighbors. Play keep away, keep that explosive Bengals offense off the field. There's definitely a way to win, and just hope your pass rush in that front seven can, create one or two mistakes. And I definitely think the Giants have a shot here to win this game. So I'm going to pick the Giants, man.
Yeah, picking division rivals because I don't think it matters for us this year. So I'm just going with what I think, I guess, at this point.
And as much as it hurts me, I think the Eagles are the worst team in the NFC East. So Giants get a win.
Well, we're a long ways removed from last year and for you the year before. Bills, Jets, AFC East matchup, and Aaron Rodgers sucking on the Jets, something I like to see. The Jets' downfall and all those New York fans being so happy A-Rod's back. And he goes out and throws 3 picks in London. Like you said, the revive memes, man, it's like when you got that self-res in Warzone and you're just like, yo, just give me the tap. Just give me the tap to keep the self-res.
Yo, that one play, bro, where he's getting tackled and you just see him screaming in agony. Like, bro, I know it shouldn't be funny, but that's like one of the funniest things I've seen like in a very long time. Like, that shit is just so funny, bro. I don't know why, but it's hilarious. Like, it shouldn't be funny seeing a 40-year-old man get, sandwiched and see his leg bend backwards, but it's just the way he's going down and screaming is one of the funniest things ever, bro. Like, oh, man. Shout out A-Rod, man.
I'm here for the Jets' downfall because the Dolphins will bounce back, man, and Tyler Huntley get us some wins and get us back in the season. That's what I'm hoping for. Bills, Jets. I clowned the Bills and Sean McDermott earlier, but I was originally going to have Robert Saleh in the Jets on there, and he was fired, and he thought about firing Nate Hackett.
Yeah.
But it seems like someone else pulled the trigger too quick, man. You don't show it if you're not going to use it, man. That's what they say. And Robert Saleh showed it, didn't fire Nate Hackett, so they put it on Saleh. We're sitting here. I think it's their D coordinator. Who is it?
I don't know, but yeah, the defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
which is hilarious because their defense has been fine. They need to change the offense, but
yeah,
that's not going to happen because Aaron Rodgers is there.
I mean, would you put Nate Hackett at head coach again?
No, I would get rid of him.
Quarterback coach?
I would get rid of Nate Hackett, but Aaron Rodgers is not going to let you do that. So, I mean, you're just pretty much at the mercy of whatever Aaron Rodgers wants to do.
GM A-Rod, man, to the downfall. Someone get Breece Hall involved. I'm picking the Bills, but get Breece Hall involved, please. There's no way I'd draft a guy in the first round of a fantasy draft and he looks like this. But yeah, give me the Bills. I'll take Josh Allen completing 9 passes against the Jets, and I think they still got a better chance to win. Keon Coleman, I think he had 1 catch for 49 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and he dropped another one. Well, it should have been a touchdown.
He did drop another one. Regardless, Sean McDermott, I think he's just Robert Saleh 2.0 that's stuck around a little bit longer and had more success. So give me the Bills with that being said somehow.
Yeah, the Bills should win this game, but, I mean, you never know. The new coach theory, maybe Aaron Rodgers has a little spark now that he doesn't have to worry about Robert Saleh telling him how to, do his snap count. So maybe that's some positive stuff there for the Jets. Regardless, if I'm a Dolphins fan, this is probably the best thing that could have happened to the division because you don't have Tua. You got a bunch of injuries. Your team is playing horribly, but you look around at the division You have Josh Allen, who had a literal concussion and was knocked out on the field. They give him smelling sauce and throw him back into the game. So not too sure how good he's going to be playing for the rest of the season. Aaron Rodgers is pretty much just taking over the Jets and running that organization. And the Patriots have 0 players on offense, and they're rolling out Drake May, the rookie quarterback, who you have absolutely no idea how he's going to play. So Dolphins get Tua back. I don't think the world's over. So that's bright. That's, a positive note for you and your team is there, because not much else positive to say about the Browns. But Bills, Jets, give me the Bills, bro. But, I mean, if the Jets win, would you be surprised? Like, no.
I was going to say, if Tua doesn't come back, Cam Ward's season loading, I don't know who would be the Browns quarterback if they keep rolling the way they're rolling. But,
Shador, man.
Huh?
Take Shador over Cam Ward.
And
Cam Ward doesn't – for the Dolphins.
You take – honestly, just give me a quarterback. I'm not even going to comment because –
actually, you know what? I would take what's buddy name from – I'll take Carson Beck. What's his name? Dude from LSU.
Carson Beck.
Nussmeier from LSU. He's looked solid. Carson Beck from Georgia. Yeah, I would take those two over actually Shador and Cam Ward, realistically.
Yeah. Carson Beck, you could stay in Georgia.
One real reason, but we're not going to really talk about that.
No, that's not the reason. But Carson Beck and his gameplay could stay there in Athens, Georgia.
Listen, he played good against Alabama, man, when they almost came back and won.
What was I going to say? Yeah, you mentioned, what was it? You know what? I don't even remember. But, yeah, if that keeps rolling that way, just draft 2 quarterbacks. Oh, I was going to say, I know nothing about drafting quarterbacks because in that 2020 draft, I was definitely pass on Justin Herbert for the Dolphins. Look how that ended up. You being a chosen Rosen guy. So I don't think we could sit here and talk quarterbacks right now.
Shout out Josh Rosen, man.
Sam Darnold was the guy, apparently.
It was Lamar.
Yeah, but I'm saying right now that we counted him out before the season. It was Lamar, obviously. 2-time MVP. But the Ravens got him in the last pick of the first round. Lucky them. It's going to wrap up our Week 6 NFL Pick'ems, man. Guardians 1-1 in their series. They play tomorrow night. Hopefully, southeastern Florida still has power from the Hurricanes, so I could watch them win. But I think they play at 4. And your classless Dodgers suck, man. I just had to say that. Dodgers fans. Classic you and fans being horrible between the Eagles and the Dodgers.
It's all right, man. We got playoff Shohei, man. And Shohei we trust.
Yeah, and Mookie you trust too, but
sorry, man. He'll turn it around. He's just in a slump.
I think it just happens when you put on that LA jersey because he seemed to be fine in Boston in the playoffs.
He was fine when he won the championship in 2020. All right, just a little slump. Bats will get hot. I'm not worried. Just worried about the pitching. That's what Walker Buehler is out there. I don't know.
He's gonna turn back the clock.
That's the only hope we got. Fuck.
Go episode 107, man. Go pod on TikTok. Go everything else streaming wise. Any last comments, concerns, takes, memes you want to get off your chest?
No, man. Go Birds.
Baker, I miss you. I don't even know what to say. Because the Browns are losing to the Eagles, and I'm going to have to listen to you. The Eagles turn their season around, man.
I guarantee you I will be calling for Nick Sirianni's job next week on this podcast, win or lose.
I mean, you do that week in and week out.
Exactly. So you won't hear me celebrating. As long as he's still there running the team.
Job's not finished.
There's nothing to be happy about.
That's going to do it for this week. And we'll be back until next week, man. Peace.